you know you are being conned.
Kumbuka, farasi ndio inakula, wachana na maua.
Give us our money back.
An audit into the troubled Ekeza Sacco in which thousands...
Hapo ndio inaanzanga. The same person who is selling to you is also a crook is selling to 2-3 people before.
Thika-based real estate company founder Geoffrey Kiragu.
Ile assets mnaambiwa saa hii zinatakiwa ziuzwe ndio mrudishiwe pesa yenu.
Kama hata lipa pesa yetu.
So one lake has been subdivided into 15 plots of that by 60 or whatever sizes they give, they subdivide. Buyer be aware, go and put what we call a caveat. How do you cover yourself from that? Mambo kwa ground yapo. That one is tick. You're okay. Now, this is where the problem comes. You will do the following.
Hi everyone and welcome back to the podcast. Today we are discussing matters real estate. We have instances of people losing their properties. Either they don't understand the process, or even if they understand the process, there are so many companies and agents out there who mislead people on the right process of buying land. So for this podcast, whether you are an investor, a beginner, or an agent, we are going to have very useful information to guide you through your real estate journey. And today, we are very privileged to have CEO Moria with us. Karibu sana to the podcast, CEO Moria.
Thank you very much.
Today, I would want us to talk matters real estate, particularly around land. We've seen a lot of people either losing their properties, buying properties that are not correct. So I hope you can give us a little bit introduction of what you do, and then we get started.
Thank you, Simon, and thank you the Tulia Real Estate family for hosting me today to at least bring to light about a few issues about land or matters about land, purchasing, buying, or ownership. You know, I said all those terms because it's not a must. You must buy a land to own it. There are many processes that will enable you to own land. In our podcast services or segments, we will be able to navigate all areas, not in any procedural matter, but we'll be touching on all areas which will assist someone to at least walk the journey of acquiring or possessing a property in the country. More to that, Simon, sorry, I went to the main content before I tuned. You asked me to at least introduce myself. Like you have learned, Simon has called me CEO Moria. That is my branding name in real estate, but my names are Rafael Moria. I have been doing matters to do with real estate for over 20 years in the country here in Kenya. So my name is all over, not from any motive more than having sold good and having led people on the good and the accurate procedures on how to acquire land. All over the country. We have clients in Nairobi, Meru, Kenya, Nairobi, call it Kenya, wherever Kenya is. Even this area where we are around, this is where? Car West. We have done a lot of sales around here. We have guided so many people on procurement, procedures, acquisition of their documentations, construction, we cut across. So basically, in our practice, we deal with the property selling, buying, and management. Construction also included.
Now, just to get you started, many people do not understand the actual process of buying and selling properties. In this instance, I think land is the most complicated one to just get over the line. I would appreciate if you could just walk us through a standard process of someone trying to buy land.
Yes.
Which steps should they take? What should they be looking out for?
Okay, thank you. Now, I want to deal with you as my dynamic clients who want to buy a property.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say, Simon, you now want to buy a property. Before you even want to come in, there's what we call intention. So you start by having an intention to buy a property. After now you have the intention, you identify where you want to own land. And especially if it is not land for investing, let's first deal with the land for you to settle. Everybody has got their own taste of where they want to live Okay, that's why you see there's a lot of segmentation on where people live in this Nairobi. Some people will say, I cannot go and live in Rongai. Some people will say, I am not going to live in Westlands. I want to live on Thika Road. So you have created your area of interest. That one cannot be done by an agent. That is done by the buyer himself. So when a buyer comes to me, who has already under an intention, and as he identifies the area of his interest, I take over now, by now guiding him on which areas his intention and his interest will fit well. For example, if you tell me you want to buy a property along Thika Road, I will first want to understand where on Thika Road. Some people really do not know the segmentation of the estates like Kasarani, Kelewax, Kawaskali, Wendani, all these estates along Thika Road and Ruiru. Where now we come in here is to assess your budget. That could be very important because the property in Ruiru will not cost as the property in Kawaskali. So that one I will be able to guide you with your budget. This is where you need to fit. Okay. Other things we look at is what size of land do you want? What size of land do you want? That can also be guided by what you want to do with your land. Whether you want to do commercial constructions for the apartments, whether you want to do a school, whether you want to do an hospital, whether you want to do your residential home for your family. That one will guide me on exactly among these estates on your interested area where I can fit you. And that also is guided by the budget you want to spend. After that is done now, we come now to the next thing. Like I said, there are areas which have got restrictions. And the restrictions will also dictate on where you can fit. Okay? In real estate language, we call it variance. The variance is what guides the people on where to live. Because, for example, if you want to live where there will be no skyscrapers, people say controlled construction, there are variants on that area which tells you what kind of a house you can construct in that area. So if you wanted to do a house where you will have one house ground floor for your family and then you start building upstairs, some areas have got variants which bar you from doing that. I'll also guide you on that. And for the listeners, do not be duped by land agents. I don't call in real estate language, you call them looters. Okay, looters. You know, when in Kenya you are called a broker, the perspective of the people who are looking at you changes immediately. You know why? Is it not true, Simon? Would you like to deal with a broker or a looter?
A realtor sounds better.
A looter sounds more professional. And the term looter means connecting. Something to connect this to this is called a looter. Just the same way in your internet here, you have a router somewhere in this house. It's something to connect you to the internet. So a router is that person in real estate, two links, the buyer and the seller. So as a router ourselves, we will then now look at that area where you want to buy the property. If it's, for example, Kawaskari, which has got a very strict variance, we will be able to go to the offices and then get the definition of what kind of a construction you can do there. So having known that, I now transfer the information to my clients. Okay? Most agents or realtors will not tell you that because their bottom line is to close the sale. As we don't close the sale closes itself after the process has been done. Okay? So we are more concerned about the service we are giving here before we get the sale closed.
You are more concerned about guiding me.
Guiding you. Okay? Okay, that does not say we are not working for profit. I'll be lying to you. Money is the bottom line. But how that money comes also plays a key role in our organization. Then when that is done, and now we have identified the property, we now come to what we call the title deed. Okay? I don't want to go to the process before I talk about the title deed. In Kenya, since around 2012, the Constitution now compressed all those land ownership documentation to 3 types. The first type is called title deed. And the listeners, and you, Simon, also, let me first define the term title and deed. Those are 2 terms. Title means that legal authority for someone to own that piece of land. Okay? Entitlement. Yes. Entitlement, that is the title. The title is your legal power to own that piece of land. The deed is that power has been transferred to a paper with pen. Somebody sits down and now transferred that authority to paper and the pen. That is what we call title deed. So title is absolute ownership, and the deed is the documented ownership. You know, like now, for example, if I call you to my home or my office, you will come and tell me, sure, Moria, I own a property somewhere. So you don't carry the property with you. To prove before I come physically to know whether you are entitled to that plot, you produce title deed. Now, this physical paper is what now we look at to know whether really your entitlement is genuine. And the genuine by in terms of legality, okay? Now, title deed, the first type of title ownership is called title deed ownership. This is where the land is given to you by the government for your absolute use. Absolute, you can do anything on that land. Anything you want to do, you don't have to keep going back to seek for approvals from anybody. How do I mean? You can keep your animals in that farm. You can plant trees. You can grow cash crop. You can, most people say it's around where you can bury one another. That's just one of the functions. Unaona? Hii shamba ni yangu inaweza shika hii. Unaona? Okay? And that's why people say it is a freehold. Freehold means you are free to own it and do anything you want in it. That one is classified as free-owned land. Okay? Where do we find this? Mostly these lands, they are found in big patches of land, 1 acre, 10 acres, 20 acres, that way. People call it ancestral land, but I don't think it's a very good term to use now because of ancestral land changed to the third generation. True. You, the land you own is not you are not the first owner. No. So they have been subdivided into small portions. After the government has given you that land, you are now free to do anything you do it. You can sell it without consulting. You can, without consulting the government, you can only liaise with your close people. You can give it for free. That's why you see, even in land law, we have gifted land. You can do all that. You can lease for some time as you agree. You can use that land the way you want. You don't pay any money to the government on free-owned land. Okay? I said it is an absolute ownership. Nimekupea hiyo ni yako go. Sawa? Lakini don't do some illegalities on it like burning trees and stuff. There are also some small measures to control you from how you use it to at least comply with other neighbors and the environment. You see? The second type of land ownership is what we call lease land. Okay? Lease land is, as the name suggests, lease is something that you have been given for a period of time to use. Even if you take a car from me, I can lease it for you for 1 week. After use, you return it at a cost, at a fee. Okay? So lease land comes from the free-owned land, mostly. And most of these lands, or all these lands in Kenya, are owned by the government. Okay? And all these lease lands are found within municipalities. Okay? And these lease lands are set. It is a government policy to at least try to generate taxes or collect income from the people, from its people, to give back service to the same people. So, how is lease land created? This is how lease land is created. Every time government gives land to its citizens, they set aside some portion of that land. Mostly it is 10% of all the land that has been given to the people as free-owned. It is set and being owned in a government trustee, and it is owned by government trustee through Ministry of Lands, so that people who are living in that same area can be going back there to get common services. For example, school, hospitals, sometimes you can find churches, all the functions that are universal consumption for the community living within that area. All right? If you have a plot in that area, you must pay government some tax. And if you have not been paying, please go and pay. Okay? Everybody else is also listening. If you own a plot within the shopping center of your home area or wherever, you are supposed to be paying government some tax because it is on lease. This lease land are given to you for 99 years. We call it 99 plus 1. Maybe you own it for 99, then 1 year you are also around to be there as the government decide whether you can continue or shift it to somebody else. Okay? So this land, when the government gives this land, you are issued with a paper document called certificate of lease. Before you get that lease certificate of lease, which is around 4 pages, there is another document called certificate lease document that underlines how you should use that land. It is there.
Yes.
So I think up to there, we are just doing it skeletonly to put perspective. Those people who want more information about this can always comment, and then we'll be able to answer all the questions through the social media or even by calling.
Let's circle back.
Yes.
On the first kind of property,
Yes.
which you said the first one is you have absolute title
Ownership.
deed. It's freehold land. I've seen payment being requested for the same. I think I've seen instances where you need to pay land rates for some type of properties that are leasehold. Maybe you could speak into that.
Now, on lease land, on lease ownership, you pay 2 taxes to the government. One tax is what we call land rates. Those are paid, even land rates and the land rents. Land rates is the money you are supposed to be paying to the government for them to give you what? The services. That is converted to the services the government will give you. Water, the roads they are making over there, the street lighting over there, the collection of the garbage. All these are supposed to be done by the government, although maybe sometimes it's not possible. But that money is collected still. That is one type of tax the government collects there. Then the rent. The rent now is the money you are paying the government yearly for you owning that land. Whether they're giving you services or not, that is rent. The same way you pay rent to the landlord. That being there, that one is the possession. The presence of that, or your presence on that land is called the rent. So you also pay that on yearly. It's little money. Some places, depending on the municipalities, it could be between 100 shillings to 1,000 shillings. I know now Kiambu, they have increased their rates to around 2,000 bob. Those are things that counties agree within themselves. It's not, and you see, I'm talking of 2,000 per year. So it's like you are paying 50 bob per day, isn't it? It is the government that's not charge a lot of money. But most people, when they go and they use the realtors to do these processes for them, or the lawyers, they are charged extra. So unasikia mtu anasema, transferring land is so expensive. I will come to that, and you'll understand it is very cheap to transfer land. What makes it expensive is the service charge by the transactors, the realtors, the lawyers, and the land cartels.
I'm starting to think. Recently, I've seen like the City Council of Nairobi repossessing certain properties for non-payment of rates. Is it the rates compound over time, or because I'm picking this because you've mentioned that these are not substantial amounts to pay,
Yes.
but I've been seeing the county government repossessing some properties, notices saying don't pay rent to the landlord, pay this to the county government.
Yes.
What usually happens in those instances?
Now, what usually happens in these things, it is because of the gray areas we have in our land law. Okay? The land law from 2012 gave mandate to the custodians of the government land in different ways. That's where we came up with things called bylaws. And every municipality now, or county like we can say, have been given some leeway to decide on the rates they should charge the occupants of their lease land. But rent is usually paid to the government through the Commission of the Rents. Okay, I'm coming to talk about that in a while. Now, what happened is, because of this, we call it self-revenue raising, I think, within the counties. Because of that, counties have now been adjusting their laws to increase the rates under the pretense that they want to give more better services to their people. Okay, so that's why you find they go sit in their parliament, which are now autonomous. They can decide without involving the National Assembly, and increase the rates. Okay, increase the rates to fit their budgets of the county running. That's where the confusion comes in. Okay, so but all times the rates are supposed to be paid to the custodian. That is, if, for example, now the custodian of the lands in Kiambu is the Kiambu County. You get? So if you are living in somewhere like this is in Nairobi, sorry. If you are living in somewhere like in Kiambu, there must be a revenue office, Lands Revenue Office in Kiambu County. I know there's another one in Ruiro, where those people living in Kaskari, they pay there. Though there's another one in Thika, also that's one they pay there. And I think also there's someone, I heard the other day, there's something in Kikuyu, send they remove that side. Okay? So those rates are supposed to be paid to the counties. But the land rent is supposed to be paid to the national government through the Commission of Land. Now, Commission of Land is the custodian of all government lease land. You see? You get it? When the government converts land to lease land, it is put under the custodian of Commission of Lands. That is the person who issues the title deeds, the certificate of lease of ownership. Yes. Upon the Nanzanga. So even if the land has been changed to lease in, for example, Maralo, okay, all those documentations for ownership will have to be done from the Commission
national government.
Yeah, national government from here. That's why also transferring a lease land takes a longer time than certificate of lease. The title deeds.
The title deed.
Unasikianga mtu anakuambia title deeds, if you finish paying me today, tomorrow you can walk away with your title deed. That is true because you are doing it within your county areas. But if somebody tells you, if you buy this property, which is under lease, you walk away tomorrow with your lease certificate, you know you are being conned. It is not possible. You cannot do a transaction in Marsabit today, bring the documents to Nairobi, and then get the certificate the same day. It is now shorter because we are doing them online, but before it could take up even up to 6 months.
Now, thanks. I understand if I have a freehold land, I'll pay that to the county government.
Yes.
And if I have a certificate of lease that is owned by the national government through the Commissioner of Lands, I'll pay the land rate to the national government.
Yes.
Thanks. Something you've mentioned.
Simon, before we get out of there, let's exhaust the payments area there. There's another tax you pay when you are transferring land, whether you are doing it freehold, whether you are doing it lease, or even if it is the other sectional ownership. You pay what we call domestic tax. That one you also pay to the Commission of Land. That is the tax that the government charges you because you are transferring now this thing to the other, your asset from you to another person. Just the same way we have the issues. Any government transfer is paid for to the government. For the cars, you pay to the NTSA. For the land, you pay to the commission. And this money is paid to the bank. The government, the lands have got their accounts in different banks. So you deposit that money directly. And this is a disclaimer. Anybody who is buying property, they are the taxes or the monies that should be paid to the government directly. I suggest, and I've always encouraged my clients, to not pay the money to the lawyers or to the realtors. The money that is supposed to be paid to the government, walk to the bank yourself, make the payment yourself, get your receipts, keep the original receipts, and then forward the copies to your realtor or your lawyer for the other process to proceed on. Why do I say this? Reason being, I have had experience, and I have seen people come with documents in my office where some of them are procured properties of 10 million, whose stamp duty is supposed to be like 4%, which is 400,000. They paid 400,000 to the lawyers, or realtors, and they are not chafuinji na professions. Okay? In every profession, we have this kind of cartels. You pay, you give 400,000 to your realtor. The realtor goes and colludes there, devalues the property from 10 million to 2 million. Then he pays 4% of 2 million, which is, I think, 8,000, and then he pockets the
rest.
Okay? And that receipt will never come to you. Anytime you have done a transfer, ask your realtor, ask your lawyer to give you all the receipts that have been paid, that he has paid to the government, together with your final title deed or certificate of lease or the sessional property ownership document, with all those documents.
That's interesting.
Yes.
That someone comes, you give them the full amount of money.
Yes.
They take a little bit of it.
Yes.
And if KRA ever comes back for you, you'll
good.
be the one who will be in trouble and needs to produce the rest of the money.
Yes, even Simon, even KRA may never catch up with you because then they are looking at paper. What they have been presented is what they believe in. But now take a situation whereby this property you bought, the transaction went very well, where there was supposed to be jumped, they jumped very well, and the transfer was done. Somebody comes up and says, I was also sold for this same plot. You see? It is okay. He did not get the title, but it was sold to him. He paid whatever portion of money, and then in defaulted. Or maybe the same person who is selling to you is also a crook. He's selling to 2-3 people before. But somewhere on the way, you managed to get the title deed before the other person gets the title deed. You know that is a case. Because if I ever place some money there, it doesn't matter whether you got the title before me or what. I will want to address my complaints through legal process. You understand?
Yeah,
so now, this way now you lose. The property was valued. It is 10 million. And you bought the property at 10 million, you as the client. And you gave all the monies to your connector, you look at a lawyer to do the process. But somewhere on the way, the court notices all this person, or even me, if you come to me for this kind of cases, I want to see the documents that took you from point buying to point
the end
owning. Okay? So in between here, I come and discover the property was bought very well, but somewhere in here, the valuation was 10 million, but the stamp duty was paid was less than this. I argue in court of law that this property was not the one they bought. You bought another property. Go look for your property.
Because the valuation now is different.
Yeah, definitely. It is okay you bought it, but court does not listen. Court does not see. Court reads.
It looks at what you've presented.
Court goes by documents.
In one property is 10 million, the other documents are 2 million, so they don't match up.
Yes. So you colluded to acquire this property fraudulently, and the people who are buying it genuinely, they are still on the process. So you lose your money. You lose your property. You may recover the money in a way, but I don't know whether you can recover all of it. You are already cooled due around 380,000. So that all those confusion.
But before I go back to the process we were initially talking of buying land,
yes,
I would just want to recap. You've said there are instances where 2 or 3 people are buying the same piece of land, which reminds me of people who have been buying land from either land selling companies or individuals, but they are not provided with a copy of the title. They're either provided with the share certificates,
yes,
and then they're given that as proof of ownership.
Yes.
Maybe could you tell us what maybe we should look out for when either we are being given a share certificate instead of either the title deed or the certificate of lease?
Yes. So Simon, I will be unfair if I answer your question now before I address the sectional ownership. We have now owned the plot, the property through freehold, that's title deed. We have owned it through lease certificate. We have owned that. Now let us own it through sectional paper or policy. You call it sectional ownership.
Ownership, yeah.
Before we come to the other now the types of ownership, like the one you talked about, the allotment and so. Now, there are these other people, and it is now becoming very common in Kenya, where you will buy a house on top of another one and another one. Okay? This was not really known before, because people did not know whether you can own a house on top of the other one. Because according to us, Kenyans, or even Africans, or most people, owning land is where they swell. Unakanyanga mchanga. You can plant some maize there. Okay? You can keep your cow there. Okay?
And chicken.
And chicken, which is very crucial, chicken. Even everybody eats a chicken and they feel. Now, there's this other amount of owning land or property. In fact, let's not even call it land because these are property. You own a house. And this is what is called a sectional ownership. Sectional property ownership. Okay? This is guided by something, by government policy called sectional policy paper. You can, as we proceed on with our segments in this podcast, we will analyze each and each. In fact, you can even read one by one or the main ones in these policies, because all these title deeds issuance are guided by government policies and they are different in a way. Now, from the sectional paper policy, we now generate what we call sectional ownership, sectional property ownership. Okay? SPO. Sectional property ownership. That is where you own a house on top of the other house. And the people are sometimes very much worried about, because I sometimes did a project at Mombasa Road, and the main question, that was 2012, and the main question I was being asked by people who were wanting to buy the land, they were asking me, now who will be cleaning the stairs? Because this is not my house. Okay, now who will be repairing the timbers on the stairs? Who will be replacing the bars and the outside there? Okay, how will I be able to know my parking? Sectional ownership is guided by a management company. Okay, and this management company is usually recommended by law to be owned by the same people who have bought properties in the same area. Okay, and you must comply to common interests of all those people. Okay, common interests here are outlined very well in the manifesto of ownership of the sectional property. Things like common areas. Common areas, we define them as playground, if it's said there. Some areas there could be a swimming pool, like the Chinese are doing now in Kirimana and the Kereresho areas, Lavington. That is a common a common utility. Stairs, it's a common. Bulbs, lighting bulbs is a common. Outside, your outside house, the walls outside your house are all common owned, because you not paint your house green when others are white. Okay, so all those are outlined in the sectional paper, sectional policy paper, and it is managed by the management company which manages that particular area. Okay, so kama umesema we are going by 1,000 for management, there's no way you can refuse. And they have their bylaws or variants. Now that's where I started with the term variant. Let us talk the real estate in jargon. It's called variants. All the variants which are there, or they are called the variants or liens. The liens, what liens are here? One of the liens is do this and not this. Paint white, that's a lien. You cannot go against that. Every management has got measures which describes what steps should be done in case you violate these variants. Okay, if you are found sleeping on the stairs, maybe you can give them some punishment of sleeping on the carpet for 1 week, depending, Simon. Okay, depending. Okay, they can decide to switch off your main meter for 1 month. That is management variance setups. Where you go against their liens, there is a punishment you are given. Okay, and if you become so notorious, they have the right to push you now to the court for the unrest. That is now the sectional property ownership.
Yeah.
I think we have exhausted that.
So I've been able to capture
to note, the interiors, in most cases, the interiors do not matter. You can have in your house, you can have a 50-inch TV. Somebody else can choose not to have. The internals do not affect. They are not affected by the management variants.
I was really tempted to go deep into the sectional properties act because I have so much that I would have wanted us to discuss. I think it's been coming up a lot lately. Either people, you can't bring your own internet into that. I think there is a whole lot to unpack around the company management. I think it's a whole lot that we need to unpack. So I hope you'll be able to come to another day for us.
But even to give them a quick checkout, what you need to do when you are buying a property and a sectional property arrangement, you first should ask for the management bylaws. Because before somebody sets up a project to do houses, they have already presented the bylaws for that project. So go check, ask your realtor to ask the developer to give that booklet. Read through it before you buy the property. Okay, you might buy a property thinking it's going to help you, and the bylaws do not allow you. Okay, and buyers are enticed by the pricing. The prices of sectional ownership is very affordable. That's why you find a house in the Westlands selling at 8 million, okay, when you cannot get a house in Ruiro at 8 million. Okay, so that is one of the marketing tricks which dupes most of the clients to going for sectional, and then you also promise this property will be 100,000 per month. Ask your developer, do you have a list of these tenants who will come and settle in my house? Ask them those questions. Okay, ask those questions. Ask them, okay, you are telling me my house after I buy it will bring 100,000 per month. Can you give me the name of the tenant who will live there? That will be another story. After you buy, the story of tenancy does not come. It's not in the developer. So all those are things you are looter, or you yourself, you can walk to a developer and they request to get a copy of the bylaws they have set for the tenants who will join after, who will take over after they are out of the site. Because a developer will develop, pocket his money, carry some money in bags because it's a lot of money. We are talking on billions, and they leave for another project.
I see. Thanks for bringing that up. I think it's still a lot that we should probably unpack in the coming episodes, and I'm happy you have some knowledge in that to be able to share with us.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
I hope I got the 3 types of certificates: freehold, certificate of lease, and sectional ownership. Now, if we could circle back on people who buy properties, but instead of getting either of those 3 titles, they're either given an allotment letter from maybe a SACCO,
Yes.
or a certificate or a share certificate. What do you generally have to advise those who have bought or are planning to buy such properties?
Thank you, Simon. That's a question that comes up so much. And even not coming so much, most of the people who own land started there. They started either by owning share certificates. And you mentioned about share certificates and allotment letters. Okay? Now, let me first do a bit of an overview on the 2 names separately. We start with allotment. Allotment means what? It is just as simple as it says. Allot is the allocation. Okay? Allocate. Allocation of a portion of a piece of land to someone to use before you complete the process of documentation. Okay? And what you got from allotment, note this very carefully. What you get from allotment is a lease certificate. It's a certificate of lease. You get certificate of lease. That land has already changed from absolute ownership, that is freehold, to leasehold. Okay? So it's a portion of 10 acres. Let's say, for example, it is a portion in Ka West here, which has been under custodian of Sete Council those days, or Nairobi County, and now they want to give it out, lease it out to people to use so that they can generate capital income or revenue rather. What they do before, because they have to look for people to occupy these portions, like you have seen kiosks, okay? Kiosks are given in the portions of 10 feet by 10 feet. What they do, before they process certificate of lease, they give you an allotment letter, okay? Allotment letter are given by the government or government body custodian. So allotment letter, you only get it from Ministry of Lands or from the Haven authorities. Okay? Kiambu County, Meru County, Nyeri County, Embu County, those can give you allotment. It is a waiting letter. It's a waiting letter. You get?
Before either of the titles we spoke
before
about.
You get your title, certificate of lease ownership. That is what is called allotment, given by the government authorities. Share certificate, which has really been a pain, and even now it's a pain to the buyers of land in Kenya. It is where a company or an individual who owns a chunk of land, 100 acres or so, even 2 acres, even 1 acre, and he has decided to sell this land to many people. Note this, many people are buying the same land in small portions. These portions are called plots, okay? So 1 acre has been subdivided into 15 plots of 30 by 60 or whatever sizes they give, they subdivide. So they will argue this way. Because I cannot go and get 1 portion of land and give to you alone as a title. Let me give you this share certificate to show that you own a share of this piece of land. As we wait for others to come and also own, then I will take the old title deed or the old shamba to the lands for mutation systems so that I can now partition and give you titles for each portion. Now, this is where the problem comes. This person started selling to you these plots in January, okay? You are paying 50,000 and so forth, and there are 13 plots. By December, he has only sold 3 plots. Okay? And the money you pay to him is exhausted.
Ashakula.
Yes. This share certificate you have, remember, it is not a document you can defend yourself in court of law. Okay? And if you have to go through share certificate system, please do for a legal professional. Let them make for you a very comprehensive sale agreement, which you can use in court of law. Otherwise, it will be a problem for you to win such a case. In fact, in most of those cases, they end up by you being told by court, refund the money to these people. And you know, when the court rules that, you are not paying these monies in interest. You are not doing business. Okay? So it becomes a tussle. You are moved around, I will refund to you the money, I will get you another plot, and so forth, so and so on. So what happens on the process, because this money is in there, this person is in there, all of the company is there, need of money, he may decide to keep you people assigned and sell this plot to somebody else who comes with more money with the intention to refund you the money you paid before. And now that's where the confusion comes, because you do not want the money, you want the plot, somebody else has come, has paid, this way. And you know, when these things are happening, you are not in the limelight yourself. Okay? So
you
it
do not
becomes
know they are happening.
So to me, I usually say a share certificate system of owning land is a no-go zone.
Okay.
Is a no-go zone. If really somebody is very seriously, they are doing the land properly, let them struggle, let them subdivide the properties, let them have titles in their names, where when you go search and everything, it shows this title, this small portion I want to buy, this is the real owner. Okay? That way maybe you can be a little bit covered. However, there are some reputable organizations or companies who have been doing it and they have been successful. But then do your background check properly before you get those duping system of land acquirement.
Now that you've talked about that we either need to go and search, get to know who is the owner,
yes.
I would want to take you a little bit back.
Yes,
I think we had gone through the process, what we need to do. And I think here I have what's your intention of getting or buying the land.
Yes.
We spoke about where do you want to buy it, what's your budget, what size do you want.
Yes.
And then once we got there, that is where we got to issues around title deed. And you've really explained what each title deed
means,
provides
what
for.
type of land they represent. Yes, I think you are clear there.
Yes. So now let's go back. Now we've done all that background work.
Yes.
We've gotten to know what kind of title deed we have. We already know our budget, our intention.
Yes.
And I think the reason I'm taking you back there, it's because you've talked about search.
Yes.
So let's go back to the process. You now have the title deed.
Yes.
Tell us about what you've spoken about around search as you walk us through the rest of the journey.
Okay, about the search of the land. And also before you get to there, there's something else I would want to let our viewers know, and even you, Simon. When you are buying land in installment system, when you are buying any land installment system, and you have checked, you have done your background check and you have seen it is genuine, this property is genuine, but I'm not paying everything now. I may pay this property in 1 year, as the agreement stipulates. For you to be fully covered, so that this property is not sold to someone else, because you don't have the title still remains with the owner of the property. You keep paying until you clear paying. But then it happens when you clear paying, the stories come up. This property, the title you owned for 2 months, owned for 3 months, just owned a bit. Somebody else maybe was buying the same property, or in most cases, the owner of that property already went and attached the title for money and advancement in a financial institution. Okay? You know, the financial institution will not write a letter and tell you the property you're buying, we have already given money. They don't know you. They don't know you. So, and they will cover that on the search. The search is the system, how we do the search. Now, the way you should be covered that, ask your realtor. When you identify, they put the first deposit for a property in Ruiru. Ruiru is very hot now. You have the company, they are selling the property at 4 million. Pay 300,000, then you pay the other money in 1 year. And you have checked, you've seen it is true. This property belongs to CEO Moria's company, where Rocks Properties. Rocks Properties is the owner. So after I finish paying, they will hand over the title to me. For you to be extra safe, ask your realtor or your lawyer or yourself, go and put what we call a caveat on that particular plot. Okay? Do a caveat. That property can never be transferred to anybody. Okay? A caveat is very cheap. It's 500 bob. Walk to any land's office. pick forms there, ask the guys there, you want to do a caveat, it will guide you, it will ask you reason for caveat, you record there. You can even attach a affidavit from a commission of oath, a lawyer. Attach it, file it, even register. Registering that such a thing with the court is less. I think it's also around 500 bob. Okay, we are going to come up with all the payments, the prices of all this property. When you want a title, how much you pay. When you want to do a search, how much we pay. We are going to do a nice catalog for people, and we post them on the page. Okay, Simon.
Yes.
So that they know as per now, because they have been revised a lot. But I'll do that one in our next podcast. So when you have done that, I can tell you that property cannot be transferred to anybody else until you finish paying. You go and remove the caveat, then the owner will transfer the property to your name.
Let me ask
I think that is a very safe way. The same way, when you are buying a property through the share ownership, and this is why people have been able to be, because they have been conned a lot. If you own and you have done a written agreement, take that agreement, just do an affidavit, attach the search, the share certificate, and then do a caveat for the whole piece of land. So that person cannot go back also to the bank and do what? And they buy loan and they ask for, and they take loan with it. Or even if he sells to other people, you'll be ahead of them.
Now, before we get out of that, I would want a confirmation.
Yes.
You've mentioned the word having a caveat.
Yes.
But I also hear of another word, caution.
Yes.
Are these the same things, or are they different between a caveat and a caution?
No, it is the same. I told you I will be using a real estate jargon. A caveat is what you call caution.
So caution is sisi watu wa kawaida, what we use, but in real
a
estate
caveat
terms,
basically means no go zone.
Okay.
Buy and be aware. That's a
don't touch.
Caveat diamta.
But can you still can someone still proceed to buy?
Yes.
When the caveat is there?
Now, if you see somebody who is buying a property and it has a caveat, they have not done due diligence. That's where the search comes in.
Okay.
We call them encumbrances. Encumbrances, and I will discuss about that even before we go to now. I think if we have cleared with the documentation and the process, we can now jump to the next step of the procedure.
Let's go ahead.
Okay. Now then, again, I use you as my dummy customer. So now you come, and now we have gone the journey with you of understanding the type of the property you want to buy and how the title will look when you buy. You see, I may give you this information and you don't buy through our company. You don't buy through Rocks Properties.
Yep.
But you take the information to another realtor somewhere. Okay? Because I can tell you, 99% of properties owned in the worldwide, it's done through the realtors. There are very few people who will walk in and they see a property and they buy. Okay? They have to go through someone. Whether it is your friend or your brother that registered or not registered, it's a connector in between. Now, after now, you have through with that procedure of documentations, you have been guided and you have known everything. Now you say, now I want to buy this plot. Okay? That's when you start. Okay? You have your realtor still. The realtor have their fees. He will charge you. You sit and agree. Mostly, it goes between 3% or more, depending on what is higher. Okay? Because if it is a property of 100,000, 3% is 3,000. So you can't pay unless it's not a serious profession you're dealing with. So that one you agree between yourselves, between the buyer and the realtor. Okay? You agree on that. Now, you are charged maybe by your realtor 10,000. For what? Conveyancing this system, I'm moving from here, I'm doing this for you, and so forth. There is now the first step to identify the legitimacy or the genuine. People say genuine. The genuine of the property you are selling. You will do the following. Number one, after you have seen physically with your eyes and with your realtor eyes, you should ask your realtor to look for a surveyor. However, many realtors know how to measure the land and identify the land on the ground using RIM. IRM is called its registry index map. Every area have got their RIMs. Okay? This plot where you are sitting now, if you give me the number, the HEROHARA means land registry number. If you give me that one, with that reference number, I will go, it's called RAND reference number, sorry, not register, RAND reference number. I will go with that number to Survey of Kenya. Like from here, I can go to Survey of Kenya, present the number, and I'm being given the RIM of this place.
The big
area
map.
where the map, people call them site maps. But site map, can be anything. So when we are talking real estate, let's call it registry index map of that area. Okay? It has measurements, which you might see it is drawn very small, but from my scaling, I will be able to know this plot is 40 feet this side by 80 feet this side. So that if that is what the seller was selling, that one is tick. You're okay. Okay? But then don't be told this is a plot from here to here and it is this by this. It may be, but for your confidence and safety, especially when you are dealing with a lot of money, you use RIM.
Better be safe than sorry.
Better be safe. Yeah, that way. Also, you can use a surveyor, registered surveyor, who will measure, check it, and give you a beacon certificate with stamps. It is registered. That confirms you have both the right plot, the right place, and the right size. Because people are being sold plots, you are told this is your plot, but the plot you are being sold it somewhere away kidogo on a swamp. You buy this one, you finish buying. When you come to build, the owner comes and tells you this is mine. You will argue a lot, saying, no, I was shown this and it's my plot. But the RIM will take you to the dam. Utaenda hapo ulikuwa
Utaenda kwa swamp.
Utaenda hapo because that's what you bought. Okay? That is step number 1. We have said ground identification. Mambo kwa ground yapo, ukuwe sure mambo kwa ground iko sawa. Iko sawa. Number 2, after you have now done that, go for search. I like doing the RIM system first because there is no need of doing a search of a plot you don't know exact location.
Agree.
Now, search is the RIM is a 500 bob. You pay 500 shillings. You get your receipt. Hapo kwa Survey of Kenya. Kuisha. If you are using a looter or a surveyor to do that, they may charge you anything between 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, depending.
Because they have to go do
that. Yeah, if it's a looter like me who will drive a 4-wheel to Survey of Kenya to retrieve, I will charge you a lot of money. Then, after that, you now start the search process. This can be done by your looter, can be done by your law profession, or you can do it yourself. Okay? Now we are even doing them online. So let me discuss on physical. Okay? Let me discuss on physical.
The physical one. Yes. Then with time we'll do the Sasa one.
Yes. We can even do almost all of them now. But let me touch the physical. So the physical, what you do, you take the copy of the title. There's a photocopy. They do for you a photocopy. It's in 4 pages usually. That photocopy of the title will be written the approximate size. It will be written the name of the owner. It will be written the ID number of the owner, and it will be written the size of the land. On the second page, even on the first page it is there, but on the second page it is more written. Okay? And mostly those, and over there it can be either title deed, certificate of lease, or a sectional property. It can be all those. There used to be others like indenture, pepcon, but those who are now, they were phased out. So let's deal with what is there now, because even those who have those ones, I think there's nobody now who owns the peppercorn system. It used to be a big booklet of around 30 pages. Now, after you have now gotten that copy, you also need to have a photocopy of the ND of the person who is selling to you the land. This now where the mix comes, Simon. You are Simon. We have been talking for many days. You are not seeing my face. So if I sent you a photocopy of an ID with a face which is not mine, now you have seen me, at least you remember. But I sent you a photocopy with a photo of our videographer.
Somebody different.
Yes, but the names, and I have already mined his ID number. Okay, but the name is mine. Utakuwa unajua ile photo ni Rafael Moria na ID yake ni hiyo iko hapo. Because that's what you need for search. So when you go to the search land, you go search, utaona it is true. The name is videographer. The ID is the same. And then this is the person I've been talking to. So you proceed and tell your lawyer, now, have we even done the search? This is the search, it is correct. Okay? So I'm the one who is dictating where you are going to deposit the money. Or I also have another lawyer who will receive the money because the kazi ya lawyer need to receive the money. That is the deal. It's a deal that has mixed you up. How do you cover yourself from that? After you have identified everything, if you are dealing with your agent, ask your agent to take you to the owner of the land, and then the owner of the land produce the ID from his wallet or from his pocket or from his house in your presence. Okay? Do a photocopy of that.
Not the one you are sent through email.
The one you have been sent through WhatsApp. Okay? Not the one you have been sent through WhatsApp. Okay, your lawyer can send to you if he's somebody you have worked on journey with, but it is always recommended that way. Okay? Also, for the lawyers, what I know they do the search from the National Registration Bureau of the Persons. That way you can also catch. They cannot fake the ID. You can catch someone because pale utapata picha na nini na nini. And also you as a buyer, when do you have to do a lot of transaction for this long before you even meet without having met the owner somewhere on the way? You can, even if it's on a video call, you can meet somewhere. Okay, that is another one. And there's a step we jumped here which I want us to retrieve kidogo. After you have identified the ground, there is a very important step people ignore. Don't ignore those people who walk around when you are viewing the plot. Don't ignore them. Those are the neighbors of the plot. Those are the walkabys, and they know about the area very well. Okay? You see those guys who you find in the shopping center around where you are going to buy a property, looking like they are just there idle. Those are very important.
Or they've just had a drink.
Yeah, or they just had a drink, they are waiting there, or they are just waiting there to disturb you. Don't ignore those people. Part with their 5 AD bob, with 2 AD bob, and they ask them about the area. Okay? You will hear some of them tell you, that plot has been being bought by many people. Question mark. That plot, there's a date and a fence and it was removed. Question mark. You see? That's also a very important physical check of the area.
Very important.
Okay? Because you see, also realtors don't live in areas where we sell properties. I might be selling a property in Lavington and I live this other side of town. Isn't it?
Very true.
So, do also that. That is a very big tick also. And those people do not lie. They will not lie. Sometimes you are even buying a plot next to a building. Why can't you talk to the owner of this building? Okay? So after you do that, now we had already gone to the search now.
We've done the search.
So if you've gotten the ID proper, you've gotten the copy of the title, present it to the land registrar office, and they will give you. You may leave it there for some time. Maybe you can come tomorrow. You'll sit down the same day, depending on the workload of the offices there, or the availability of file. No, some file have never been reviewed for the last 50 years. So it may be back
take time to
at the back end of the registry, which we understand anyway.
Mm.
So they will now give you a government search document analyzing the details of that property. It will analyze from the first data of the property to the last current. That is called green card. So a
green card search.
A green card is a document in land's office anywhere in the country, because there are many land offices depending on where you are doing the purchase, which carries the details of that property from issuance to current.
So you're saying there are different searches, but we need to do a green card search.
That one is a must. Yes, that one is a must. That is what the government recommends. You know, when you're in problems, you don't go to court and tell them somebody at the shopping center confirmed to me.
Okay.
I said, court don't have ears, court don't have eyes.
They look at paperwork.
Yes.
Okay.
Paperwork. So if that comes out properly and it's confirmed by your professional, whether it's a realtor or a lawyer, I can okay you to start the process of procurement. From there now, you can do what we call a letter of offer. A letter of offer, not a must anyway. A letter of offer is what now tells, what advises the owner of the property on your procedure of buying that property. Something like, I have confirmed the price is 2 million and I will be putting a deposit of 10% to pay the other money in 90 days, or after such things. Okay, those are just
So something
those are normal
formal.
processes now.
Hmm.
Okay, then that one I'm again insisting the searches and so forth must be confirmed to you by a profession. Sababu ukiandikiwa hapo unajua inaandikangwa absolute and canvas hivyo hivyo, you not know what these things mean. So when it is absolute, it means it's tick, correct. Or even the land officer who is doing for you the search can explain to you at the counter. Okay? This search is supposed to be paid for 500 shillings. Pay that money, get a government receipt, and file it yourself. And even if you are being paid, even if it's being done by your connector, still ask him to pay the right fees for the government, then let him keep his other fee.
His commission on
His
the
commission or service charge. And he always insists on knowing the money you are charging me, is it for the total or for inclusive your or it's inclusive your service.
Is this all going to the government or some of it is yours?
Ask him whether if you are charging me 2,500 for the search. Okay? You're charging me 2,500 for the search. Is this money all going to the government or it is yours? Because he may come back again and tell you this is my cost. So if he tells you this is, so please pay for me the government dues and give me my original receipt. Okay? Always keep those receipts. Because when any problem comes, your lawyer will be very busy looking for another client elsewhere. And your lawyer will be very busy in court, not answering your calls. So you have your documents, collect, because you can look for another lawyer if it's in the case of matters of urgency. So now you have started the process of pay. Okay? When do we sometimes pay deposits? People pay deposits so that you can test waters. We call it test waters. And in the agreement also requires the sale of the property to allow you to take possession of the land after 10%. Okay? So that also if it is you are fencing off your plot, in case there's something that was so technical that was hidden somewhere. Okay? You can now know, because people might walk in and tell you, oh, no go zone. So you better lose 10% than losing 100%. You get me?
I get you.
And another thing people have never known, if I take possession of land and I prove I am in the process of buying, that case mostly will favor me even if somebody else comes after I have done some development.
Because you have possession.
I have.
90% of the law.
I already have some advanced occupation. We'll also discuss about those in one of our podcasts. I want us to discuss the land jargons like the advanced occupation, like the ones now we are talking. Although some of them we are touching now, like structure and stuff. Then now, from there now, you know you are a bit comfortable now. You can say you are 50% comfortable.
You are fine.
You are fine now after processing. Now you in Guinea, you are left to looking for money to meet the deadline of the sale agreement. Okay. Then
The
after
90% that you haven't paid.
yes. Now after that, the day of closing the deal, you pay the balance. You always insist to pay this money through traceable. In case of issues, traceable proof of payment that you pay this. Also, some of the things you should check. When somebody tell you, no, come carrying money, don't pay me through this account, don't pay me through M-Pesa. Also, those are areas you should question. Okay? You should question. Because if I'm selling your property to you, surely, unless you tell me, you separate this money, let some of them go to my wife, let some come to my, which we have done a lot. We have seen those cases. Because there's no trust. This is already what is called family conflict. Somebody fears if the husband is given 5 million, that is the end. So you can separate, but it should be captured in the sale agreement. And also must prove that this is your partner in this. Sometimes the title has got the 2 names. That's okay. All those are things you address now with your advisor, the lawyer or the tutor, as you go on with the process. After everything is done, clear paying and shake hands, move and continue developing your property.
Now, I would want to go back.
Yes.
We've done the letter of offer. We've signed an agreement. I've
Yes.
paid 10%.
Yes.
I would just, because this land is owned by the government,
Yes.
what role does the government play
Yes.
when now we are doing the transfer? Because let's say it's a lease, It's either the county owns or the government owns.
Yes.
Is there a way the government is involved when the transfer is happening?
Very good. Sorry, that was an omission during the search. During your search, you will, in that search, so not an omission, I just went overview, because on the same search, you'll be able to know whether, you will check whether, when you are doing the search, you check whether the government has been paid their dues. Okay? You also, that search will be able to advise you whether this property is under caveat, the caution you talked about, or whether this property has borrowed money as a collateral. Collateral, that's also another term we will explain. Collateral is something that we hold in trust on behalf of the money that was lent, or other you can call it security. So those, during the search, you do all those, and those are called encompasses. Okay, encompasses is anything that is that is attached to that property, prohibiting the movement of those documents, or transfer of those documents from one person to another one. So they are there. We will cover somewhere later in our podcast. We will cover about the encompasses and the land transaction.
Okay.
How they impact the land transaction.
So
when all that is done and there is no encompasses, or like you said about the government rates, sometimes before people sell properties, they clear those outstanding rates, and when you go checking, you are not paying any much more. So after during the transfer, because now you have to start the transfer process, some people start transfer after 10%, depending the agreement between you and the seller. Some people will start transfer after they are paid everything. They are left in doing the transfer. Okay? But especially when you're buying property through financing, they transfer and they register it to the name of the buyer before you get your final dues. That is that's a precaution in financial state. Okay? Yes. And on the same also, before you transfer, there's the stamp duty. Okay? You know, we did not exhaust. We went after the search. Now we are going to the next step. Now, from the search, you have confirmed everything and you have done sale agreement. You now start the process of transferring, which is you first do the evaluation of the land, because also in different sections have got different rating, or different ownership have got different changes on rates and rents. For example, when you are buying a lease land, a lease land and section of property, you pay to the government domestic tax at 4% of the value of the land. The value of the land is not determined by eyes or by the what? It's determined by the government valuer or a registered approved valuer from the government. Who does the search? Who does the valuation? Then it goes to the lands. However, these days, it has been standardized that when your transfer reaches the lands office, they know if it's in Car West, they know the area, that those areas, this size of land there's a catalog there. You'll be able to know. So you'll pay that one. That is a must to the government before the names change from the owner to you.
So this stamp duty, it's the one that you pay either 4% for municipalities and
Yes.
2% for
the freehold land.
Okay.
The agricultural land, rather, people call it that also.
And I think now that you are talking about agricultural land, I would appreciate if you could touch a little bit around the role of the board.
Yes.
The Lands Control Board,
Yes.
when it comes to the process of transferring agricultural land.
Okay. That's another thing we needed to cover. So we have done the search, CDO. Then we have done the search we have done and the transfer up to there and about there. Now you asked about a comeback, the transfer bond.
Yes.
It is also in the same. When you are doing the transfer from one land to the other land, there's a process there which you pass through. One of the process is that one you are calling land transfer bond. Okay? The land transfer bond, you will go to the lands, and this is for the freehold land. You will go to the land every sub-county, rather, these days, I think every county, they have their bond. And they're also subdivided in sections. Some of them, they're in sub-counties, or two sub-counties can have one bond. You'll go to those bond, you and the seller or your representatives, present your documents and yourselves in persons, and consent in front of the bond that you have agreed to release this property to this person. People who are supposed to be in that, especially when you are selling the freehold land, they are all the interested party, immediate interested party. Note this, immediate interested party. Immediate in this, we define them to be your children, your wife, your spouse or your wife, your wives, your children or your children, what? The children now, the first circle. You see what you can call in English the nuclear family. Okay, and maybe if that also land is owned by and joint, it's a family farm which has got one title and you are many brothers or sisters. You can all go there, or you can agree before. And since we presume the bond of every area know the people in that area, okay? Because you find in most areas, the board members are distributed in sections. It's like chiefs, or can be somebody in that village you knows are white people around there, okay? So they sit in that bond and confirm it is true. These people have agreed, they are selling the property. You are given a bond, a document from the bond. It's standard. They fill it and then they hand it over to you. This is also attached on during the day of transfer, together with the receipts, the other receipts. Okay, and that one is paid 1,000 shillings for you to appear in the bond. However, you realize most bonds have got extra charges. Okay, but those I said again, those comes as by laws. Those you not find them in land law. Those are by laws, depending on the counties where you are. Because I know, like in Nairobi here, sometimes they charge, like Ruiru over here, they charge I think 10,000 for the bond to sit that day. I think they call it special bond. But note, special bond were banned unless it has been lifted. You are supposed to do bond only once in a month. That's why sometimes you go, you find it's a big cloud, but they do it. You pay 1,000 bob and you are given a receipt for that.
Now, sorry, let me take you back. Yes. Sorry for taking you back to that one.
No problem, Simon. Come back.
Previously, we had gone through the process until we got our title deed done.
Yes.
I just want to hear, is there anything that now I have my either of the three titles? Let's say I've got now my title deed or my certificate of lease with me. Is there anything else I need to do, or I can now go home and stay happy?
After you have gotten the title deed.
I've gotten the title deed.
It is in your name now.
It's in my name. Is there anything else I need to do? Or
as much as I know, what you need to do is to start using your land so that you can have value for your land. Yes, if you are buying the land to do farming, proceed on. If you are buying to do construction, if you earn some money left after the purchase, you can continue. You can also you can decide to start selling immediately. You can resell the land again. You can sell it out. And sorry, Simon, sorry for interrupting you. And since we said this is a podcast, you don't have to have anything chronologically. We will be talking when we jump something. We can come back again. Also on the concept, on the concept where we discuss about the land bond concept. There's also what we call a subdivision concept. Okay, the subdivision concept, that one is done by the surveyor, just within the same time of process, the process of the process of the buying. But the subdivision concept is usually done to land which you are subdividing. If it is a standalone plot, you don't have to go through the subdivision concept.
Okay.
Yes.
So if I get you correctly, so far we've talked about around 4 professions. You've talked about a realtor.
Yes.
You've talked about a lawyer for the agreement and probably for conveyancing.
Yes.
You've talked about the need to have a surveyor just to help you do ground verification.
Yes.
And you've talked around having someone to help you value the property.
Yes.
I hope I have been able to capture
true. That is very true.
all the professionals that are needed.
Yes.
Now, one thing that I have heard most people say is once the title transfer process is correct, you need to still go back and just do a confirmatory search for the land.
Very good. Now, that is okay because the land might take a long time before the transfer is completed. Especially when you are buying through banks, it can take up to even 6 months. But mostly they say 90 days. 90 days is the minimum set standards by the law for land to transfer. But because of delays in lands and they also about movements of maybe the lawyer is not available. Sometimes the bank is checking this document. Also, maybe somebody has traveled, all that, those kind of incomings in there, it might take longer. So when you are getting, this one is even obvious. It should be obvious from your realtor or from your lawyer. When they are picking the last document from the land's office, the document now, after you have told the fine, now your document is ready, it is typed, it is this one. They should pay for another search that now confirms the status as per that and the green card. Why this is important? It is this. Sometimes the lands will type your title, and then they keep because of the bulkiness of the job on their tables, they keep the green card there for updates, and they don't update. You get? They don't update. So tomorrow it is there. The officer who was doing now is moved to another office. The next office comes and takes the green cards and they take back to the shelves. So when somebody come 1 year later to check the search, it does not apply. It does not reflect your name. It is fine. It will be updated then. But supposing the seller also noticed it was not done, and then he sells again, because the documents will still be his. So it is important, the way you say, after when your realtor or your lawyer is handling to you the new title, it should be accompanied by the search receipt. And let me cover that very quickly. Now, when the transfer is over, the document you need to get from your realtor, that day he calls you and tells you now titles are ready. Like the way you can see some companies are flying people to Mombasa to hand over their titles. Their documents, that title should be accompanied with. 1, you must have the search receipt. That is the government search receipt. We talked of that. Number 2, you should have the receipt paying the stamp duties. Okay? Okay. Number 3, you should have the receipt that's paid for the bond, for the ranch bond sitting. Okay. Number 3, you should have the current search. And that receipt of the first search also should have the search, the current search, okay, of that title now. I think those are the main ones, because already you have the sale agreement. You already kept the sale agreement. That one you have. The map, not a must. That's okay. That does not come from the ranch office. It comes from the survey office. So I said what? You must have the search. The first search.
The original one.
The original search, which now is in the name of the seller. Then you must have the stamp duty payment. That shows you cleared with the government. Okay. Then you should have the receipt to show that the lands, after clearing, the bond agreed the transfer has been done. That's a receipt also. Then, ya mwisho, you should have the search to show the transfer was comprehensively done and the transfer, the ranch office was updated.
Okay.
I think that's okay. Yes.
Now, as we draw close to the end, are there specific mistakes you see people making over and over that at least you'd want to highlight so that the same thing doesn't happen?
You mean during the transfer?
During the process of buying or selling land.
During the process of buying and selling land, mistakes are many and they keep coming every day. There's no constant mistake, but they're there. One of them is you as the buyer, you must follow your process with your realtor and with your lawyer very well. Okay? So that they don't jump some steps, like steps of paying stamp duty. Sometimes it's paid less than. And you know, although you want to buy this property, you also want to save money and save it, which you must be covered. So that is one of them. Another one is trusting. You trust somebody who is genuine. He may also not know. He may also, you know, I've met cases where somebody bought property in 2000, it was transferred, and he sold it again in 2005, it was transferred, and somebody had bought that property in 1995, and he comes, and it happens the genuine owner is the 1995 person. Okay? So much happening with the Bakas ranching. That's exactly what happens. Okay? And remember, if you are the landowner from the first owner, these two people who are in between here have no case to answer. Because what does the law say? You do due diligence of land before you commit to buy. The moment you have gotten to the agreement with the seller that you have now confirmed and you are buying the land as it is, it means even you are consented to buy the land even if it has some encumbrances. Okay? Even if you go to DCI, okay? It will not work out for you well. It may not be able to work out for you well. Okay? And by the way, I want to tell my listeners and your listeners too, Simon. Okay, cases regarding land. Cases regarding land. The best platform to address issues of land, it is through court. Okay, it is through court. It's really not through DCI. The DCIs can come in, for example, if I fraudulent you, but you paid somebody money and you bought a visible plot. That's not it's really seriously criminal. That is my opinion. That's my opinion. Okay, but I know I really think from the experience I have about land matters, the best platform to address any land dispute is through courts.
And also not through physical violence. Because
Through physical violence, you know, you are the one who will lose, because now you'll be assault is worse than a fraud. Yes.
Because I think what has been happening on land matters in
Yes.
Kenya, I think people have an obsession with land,
Yes.
and they end up a lot of deaths happening, family disputes, this
Yes.
guy killing the other because of land. So
Yes, yes.
I love the way you've mentioned that if there is a dispute somewhere,
Yes.
just take it to court and see
Go
if
to
that one
court,
can
take
get
your
resolved.
time. You have a lot of leeway through the court. Even if you have constructed and you go to court, even if somebody is screaming, nobody can remove you from there before the court listen and determine to totality. Okay? So you are still there and you are safe. The court even goes ahead and even restricts the person who is screaming or the group which is screaming not to be seen anywhere 1 kilometer away from your property, depending on how dangerous you have presented your case to be to them. So by that demolishing or even burning up or even shooting people, that one does not solve the problem of a property dispute. Because at the end of the day, you will also not get it anyway. How will you get the property? You have killed somebody and you're in court for 50 years. You'd get. True? You
Very
not
true.
get it. That's why you find you go somewhere, you see the whole area is so well developed and there's a plot there which is looking like a abandoned bush. Some of those cases appear like that. The land matters is as rich as human life. So we cannot exist. And as we move on, also, I believe our listeners will keep on also posting in suggestions and the questions and the topics which you keep on updating and discussing in our podcast.
If someone wants to probably now reach out to you directly as CEO Moria,
Yes.
how would you like them to get in touch?
The best platform to get me on is through my email address. You can get us through our email address, rockspropertiesrk@gmail.com. And the Rocks does not have a K. It is ROCS propertiesrk@gmail.com. You put it there for them on the screen. Also, when you get in touch with us here, you'll be able to see we have got a lot of listing. We start now listing on 245.k.
Property254.co.ke.
So you will be posting so many of our properties. You can try us if you'll be let down, or even if you have not been let down and you want to continue procuring, or you are new incomer. Through this podcast, you'll be assisted. We'll be giving you so many of our properties spread across, and then you can be able to pick on any of them, and we'll move the journey together. I'm sure by the end you are shaking the last handshake, you'll be a smiling client. Also, let me not be too mean, because this is the normal practice now of WhatsApp. So they call someone. Most people now do not even use those
Email
platforms. WhatsApp is the easiest because you have it everywhere with you. So they can get me on my cell phone 0722 32 9180. I'm the founder I'm the CEO of Rocks Properties. It is a business doing property matters in Kenya. We address dwelling matters to the human race in Kenya here, and our offices are at Kawaskwali, opposite Quickmart. Kawaskwali Road, opposite Quickmart. The first building from Thika Road. You pop in there, come to 4th floor. The office is on 4th floor. You ask for us there, you get the service you want.
I love this other, being able to just walk over to your office, see you, and be able to discuss with you maybe all our real estate needs.
Yes.
for now, it's to thank you very much for finding the time, then giving us great nuggets of wisdom. I think this is one of the most educative podcasts that we've had. So thank you very much for coming, and I hope you'll find time to come share with us again. We have so much to discuss.
Simon, no problem. I appreciate also for finding time to sit with me and pass over the message to our people, because this is a normal practice in human race. Everybody wish to own portion somewhere here. There's a time I was looking at a YouTube channel, and I found a Kenyan in the US saying he has to grab a piece of the pie of Washington. And saying we are coming to colonize. Now, as here in Kenya, we have to grab a piece of the pie, but we are not colonizing. We want to settle. Okay, we want to settle because this is our country anyway, and we will do this through procuring or purchasing a portion of land in Kenya.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
I appreciate it.
thank you.
That's it, viewers. I hope this session was as informative for you as it was for me, and I hope to see you in the next one.